He's so insecure, nowhere to run, nowhere.
This song was released 5 years ago, in the winter of 2018. It would be my first time ever listening to Ben Lasky, better known as Quadeca. He would continue to grow vastly as a musician and as an artist in the next 5 years. And as I grew up, I continued being a fan of his. All of that is just to say that I'm Orange, and in this video, I'm appreciating Quadeca. About 4 months after Insecure was released, Quadeca would release his first studio album, Voice Memos, spanning 13 tracks and 40 minutes of material. He would be 18 at the time, which is not far from my current age, which is pretty crazy to think about. I have vivid memories of listening to tracks like Imagination and Ego Death on my bus ride to school in 8th grade, and this album is extremely important to me personally, as it was one of the first albums I ever went out of my way to listen to. This album brings themes of ego and confidence on tracks like Ego Death and The Man on My Left Shoulder. It also delves into wishing and accepting success on tracks like Imagination. There are also definitely a fair share of bangers like
Back on my motherfucking shit, I got a lot of new drip, yeah. Just take a look at my feet, look at my feet.
and Thank You Next.
I've been like, thank you, next. I hit that bitch with a thank you text. Who been on this shit, better take your guess. When I'm out in Palo Alto, let it grateful.
With all of that being said, this album has definitely not aged the best. Plenty of material here is pretty inferior to most of the stuff Quadeca would release later down the road. That doesn't change the fact that the album is an important part of Quadeca's discography, and it's important to me. My favorite songs here are Imagination.
When I was 8, yeah, I wanted a wraith, yeah, but I had to hide in my imagination.
And The Man on My Left Shoulder.
Yeah, I've been talking to the man sitting on my left shoulder. He said everything just gets worse when you're older.
From Me to You would be released in 2021, 2 years after Voice Memos, spanning 18 tracks with a runtime of 59 minutes. Quadeca became more ambitious with his production, and contrary to Voice Memos, From Me to You actually has a consistent theme running throughout it: overcoming obstacles, climbing personal mountains. This idea is reinforced with spoken word bits like in the intro Kuar, and also in interlude titles like Hallstatt, which is a village located in a mountainous Austrian city. Back to the production. This album is atmospheric on a scale not seen anywhere on Voice Memos, a great example being Summit Part 2. Like Voice Memos, I also definitely have personal memories with this album. Summit 1 was the epic closer to a summer camp I had the year the album was released, and plenty of songs on this record would make my rotation. Ben was starting to see glimpses of wide recognition for this album. Fantano made a whole video praising Sisyphus, a track that made people reconsider calling Quadeca a gimmicky YouTube rapper. So to talk favorites, I will definitely throw Sisyphus.
When I'm back on the clock, you're only with me in the back of my mind now. It's a cycle, it's a path I can't find.
And I will also throw Summit Part 1.
No matter how long distance, I know that shit just isn't true. Because we're still looking for the summit. They say we're halfway there, I think we're halfway from it.
Coming back to this album today, there was clearly still another level for Quadeca's artistry. His ability to conceptualize a project and write a compelling song could still greatly improve past this point, and sure enough, Ben would make that improvement. I didn't mean to hunch you. For many, it's Quadeca's best album, his magnum opus, released in 2022, spanning 11 tracks and 57 minutes. This album is undoubtedly Quadeca's best structured and written album. The writing and concepting of this album makes From Me to You sound like some amateur work. It sounds like and feels like everything Quadeca was trying to accomplish on From Me to You actually working. Quadeca is writing this album from the standpoint of a ghost, himself, hunting and reminiscing on his past life, looking outward into his family and the living world. A big chunk of Quadeca's best work to date is on this album. From the intro track, Sorry for Dying, to the outro, Cassini's Division. This album is a special experience, and it put Quadeca on a level many people did not think he would reach. For many, this was one of the best albums released in 2022, and if you haven't heard it, I highly recommend you to check it out. My favorite songs are Fractions of Infinity, and Sorry for Dying. This album is amazing, and as I said before, it's his best for many. Not for me though. I think this next one is even better. Yep, for me this is Quadeca's best album, released in 2024, only 6 months before this video was written. It is 15 tracks, 46 minutes of material. This is Quadeca at his absolute peak musically. Scrapyard, as the name entails, is a collection of Lucy's, tracks that didn't make it to I Didn't Mean to Hunch You, and tracks that Ben did not think would fit in his next album. Because of that, this album lacks a holistic picture, a narrative, as was seen in his previous album, but it makes up for it in pure quality of music. This album can definitely be all over the place, with tracks like Guess Who, being on the same album as tracks like Easier.
I want you 'cause it's easier than nothing, babe.
This versatility might put off some, but when everything is done masterfully, beautiful production, great writing, great performances, you cannot deny the greatness that is expressed on this album, even without a clear concept. Themes of unrequited love, confidence and lack of confidence tie this entire album together. My favorite songs, and this is not easy to choose, are A La Carte.
My favorite poem was the one I read to you, for the teleprompter on the tongue of my shoe. My flashback saw a touch more resonant.
And You Tried That Thing Where You're Human, which to me is Quadeca's best song ever.
Try. You did that thing where you're human.
I love Quadeca. I grew up with his music. Seeing him progress as a musician, seeing him evolve is inspiring. And considering how good Scrapyard is, if Vanisher, his next album, is just as musically dense as this one, with an addition of a gripping narrative focus like I Didn't Mean to Hunch You, we are due for an absolute classic. I am Orange, and as always, thank you for watching.